Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Myself Dr. Enel Terdad, working as an assistant professor, the Department of Chemistry, JSS Arts Science and Commerce College, Gokak. The college is affiliated to Rani Chennamma University, Belagavi. The today's topic of discussion is thermal analysis. In the thermal analysis, we are going to study in detail about thermogravimetric analysis. So this is the table of content. So so we are going to start the today's discussion with the introduction to thermal analysis, then types of thermal analysis. So further we are going to know more about thermogravimetric analysis, that is introduction, principle, thermogravimetric curve, factors affecting the thermogravimetric curves, then applications of thermogravimetric analysis. Further, the panel is advantages and limitations of TGA. So let us start the discussion with the some background on thermal analysis. Thermal analysis is a branch of material science where the properties of materials are studied as they change with the temperature. When the matter is heated, it undergoes certain physical and chemical changes. Physical changes include phase changes such as melting, solid melts to liquid, evaporation, liquid evaporates into gas, and sublimation, solid sublimates to gas, crystallization, then sorry, then transition between crystal structures, changes in microstructures of metal alloys and polymers, volume changes, and changes in mechanical behavior. So these are the physical changes. These are the physical changes. Let us think about chemical changes include the reactions to form new products, oxidation, reduction, corrosion, decomposition patterns, dehydration, chemisorption, and so on. So these properties are changing concerned with the chemical phenomenon. So the specific example of the chemical change is the decomposition pattern of the calcium oxalate monohydrate. So these are the three steps involved in the decompositions of the calcium oxalate monohydrate. So initially the calcium oxalate monohydrate loses water molecules at 100 degrees Celsius, leaving behind calcium oxalate. Further heating of this calcium oxalate loses carbon monoxide at 346 degrees Celsius, leaving behind calcium carbonate. So further heating of this calcium carbonate to 660 degrees Celsius expelled out carbon dioxide, leaving behind thermally stable calcium oxide, which is a final product. So this is thermally stable. Further heating of this calcium oxide, so it will not decompose it further. So these three steps are involved in the decomposition reactions of calcium oxalate monohydrate. So such decomposition pattern or such reactions are monitored by thermal analysis. So this is a one of the particular example where the chemical change is taking place in the uh, in a specific compound. So the physical and chemical changes takes place over a wide range of temperature. So such things are monitored or examined by using thermal analysis techniques. Well, materials are used over a wide range of temperatures from Arctic cold. You can see this. This is Arctic cold. This is a pipeline in the cold condition or Arctic cold to tropical heat. So there are various materials which are used in Arctic cold as well as in the tropical heat. And there are various substances or materials used in the corrosive environments, specifically in industries, and also used in variable humid conditions and under load or stress. So such materials are used in extreme environmental conditions, So it is really necessary to characterize such materials before their practical use. In order, so their behaviors over a range of temperatures to determine what materials are suitable for specific uses, and to determine what temperature range materials or chemicals can withstand without changing. So this is very much important. So if we are synthesizing a materials in the laboratory, before its practical use we need to see its behavior over a range of temperature based on their specific uses or specific applications to determine what temperature range materials or chemicals can withstand without changing. So this is very much important before its practical uses. The sort of information is used to predict safe operating conditions and conditions for products, such as which type of tire material is, for example, I'm taking the example of tire material here. So if you want to know its operating conditions, the tire material operating conditions, so we need to see it how the material is behaving in extremely cold conditions, how the material is behaving in extremely hot conditions. If we are not checking the tire material before its practical use, then what will happen in the cold condition, it will get contract, and in the hot condition that the material will get melts. So it is always safe, it is always better to know the operating conditions of these materials which are used in the tire. So if that is the case, we need to have a thermal analysis techniques to monitor such a behavior of the materials before the practical usage of the materials. So it's one of the simplest example that I'm quoting here. So there are types of the thermal analysis based on the various principles. So first one is thermogravimetric analysis, abbreviated as TGA. T stands for thermo, G stands for gravimetric, and A stands for analysis. And second one is differential thermal analysis. It is denoted as DTA. Third one is differential scanning calorimetry, which is indicated as DSC. Fourth one is thermometric titration, abbreviated as TT. And the fifth one is DMA, which is dynamic mechanical analysis. And the last one is sixth one, thermomechanical analysis, abbreviated as TMA. So here we are going to discuss more details on thermogravimetric analysis. Thermogravimetric analysis or the thermal gravimetric analysis is a method of thermal analysis, of course, in which the mass of the sample is measured over time as a function of temperature under controlled environment. So here, so we are just measuring the mass of the sample as a function of temperature under controlled condition. So we have two variables. One is temperature, which we are increasing the sample temperature is increasing, and second one is, so we are just measuring the weight of the sample upon increasing the temperature. So change in the weight or measuring. So for this what we need is, we need a furnace to increase the temperature, and we need a thermocouple to measure the temperature of the furnace, and then we need to have a balance to see the change in weight of the sample. And then we have used controlled environment, meaning we need to pass the gas to maintain the specific environment or surrounding the sample. So such kind of measurements provides information about physical phenomenon as well as chemical phenomenon. So as we already discussed, what are the things involved in the physical phenomenon: phase transitions, absorption, and desorptions. So in chemical phenomenon includes chemisorptions, thermal decomposition, and there are various reactions like solid gas reactions. So this is the thermogravimetric instrument where the furnace is included. All these main things are included here. So this is the balance, this is the balance. So I can mark it. Yes, this is the balance. Yeah, this is the balance here, this is the balance part where this is needed for the uh, for recording the change in the weight of the sample upon heating. So this is furnace for heating, and this is the thermocouple for recording the temperature, and this is the vent for maintaining the controlled environment. Okay, so there are three types of thermogrametry. First one is isothermal or static thermogrametry. In this technique, the sample weight is recorded as a function of time at constant temperature. The second one is quasi-static thermogrametry. In this technique, the sample is heated at constant weight at each series of increasing temperatures. The third one is dynamic thermogrametry. In this technique, the sample is heated in an environment whose temperature is changing in the predetermined manner, generally at linear rate. So this type of thermogrametry is being widely used in the research studies. So this is very important. The principle of the thermogrametry or principle of the TGA. In thermogrametric analysis, the sample is heated in a given environment. The environment might be air, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, helium, argon, etc. So the sample is heated in a given environment at controlled rate, and once we heat the sample, what will happen? The change in the weight of the substance or the sample is recorded as a function of temperature or time. So these 2 points are very important. First, we are heating the sample, and then we are recording the weight change weight change of the sample as a function of temperature. The temperature of the sample is increased at a constant rate per a known initial weight of the substance, and the changes in weights are recorded as a function of temperature at different time intervals. So I repeat, the temperature is increased at a constant rate for a known initial weight of the substance, and the changes in the weights are recorded as a function of temperature at a different time interval. So this plot, that is, we have two variables I have already said you. So one is weight change in into bracket, or weight change in terms of what, in terms of percentage or in terms of gram or in terms of milligram, against temperature in terms of degree Celsius is called. So here it is. So this is called, okay, I will see this one, where it is. Yeah, so here it is. So this is the y-axis, that is weight change, and this is the x-axis, that is versus weight change in terms of percentage versus temperature in terms of degree Celsius. So this is called thermogrametric curve, that is TGA curve, or it is called thermogram. So this is the principle of the thermogrametric analysis. So here we have two variables. One is a weight change upon the function of upon change in the temperature. So one is, we are just changing the temperature of the sample, and then simultaneously we are recording the change in the weight of the sample or weight loss of the sample under controlled environment. So this is the principle of the TGA. We will see some specific examples of the TGA curve. So one is the TGA. This is the TGA curve for AgNO3. So in the curve we have three parts. The part is, one part is AB. So this is a horizontal portion. So we have one more horizontal portion is here, CD. So we have this horizontal portion in the TGA curve of AgNO3. This indicating that there is no change in the weight of AgNO3. And the portion BC indicates, it is very simple, it indicates the change in the weight of AgNO3. So let us look into how it is changing and why it is changing the weight in detail here. The weight of the substance of AgNO3 remains constant up to this point, that is point B, uh, indicating that the AgNO3 is thermally stable up to 473 degrees Celsius. So after this, at this temperature, it starts losing its weight, and this indicates that the decomposition starts at this temperature. You can see here. So it is losing its weight. This indicates that the AgNO3 is decomposing at this temperature, or decomposing starts at this temperature. The AgNO3 is decomposed to nitrogen dioxide, then oxygen and metallic silver. The loss in weight continues up to 608 degrees Celsius, leaving metallic silver as a stable residue. Beyond this temperature, the weight of the sample remains constant. So you just arrange the temperature, that is x-axis according to the temperature mentioned in the text here. So the decomposition pattern of the decomposition pattern decomposition pattern of decomposition pattern of the AgNO3 is AgNO3 decomposes to nitrogen dioxide, oxygen, and metallic silver, which is thermally stable, which cannot be changed upon the further heating of the AgNO3. So the another example of the TGA TGA analysis is calcium oxalate monohydrate. So we have three steps here. The the decomposition steps are step number one. So this is calcium oxalate monohydrate is decomposing to calcium oxalate and water at 100 degrees Celsius, and the corresponding curve is this one. This is the first curve, and here the weight loss in milligrams. So this weight loss in the first curve is corresponding to weight loss the molecular weight of the water, because we are losing water here. The second decomposition pattern of the calcium oxalate decomposes to calcium carbonate and carbon monoxide. So this is the corresponding curve, that is second one. This is second curve, and this curve, the change in the weight in milligrams. So this is corresponding to molecular weight of the carbon monoxide. So I can see, I will show here is a carbon monoxide, the weight is corresponding to molecular weight of the carbon monoxide. And the uh, third curve, which is corresponding to the decomposition of calcium carbonate to calcium oxide, which is a thermally stable compound, to carbon dioxide. So this is the third curve, and the change in the weight in milligrams from here, I can say here to here. So this is corresponding to molecular weight of the carbon dioxide. So this is very important. The first the first reaction, decomposition reaction at 100 degrees Celsius. The second reaction, that is the decomposition of the calcium oxalate at 346 degrees Celsius. And the third reaction, decomposition reaction at 660 degrees Celsius. After or beyond 660 degrees Celsius, the calcium oxide is not at all, oxalate is not at all changing chemically or physically. So it is thermally stable. So that's why we have three decomposition reactions of calcium oxalate monohydrate here. So these are the things we have discussed here. So further in the next video we will discuss more on thermogrametric analysis. If you have any questions regarding this, you just comment me in the comment box. Thank you.